Let's jump to the next claim, and we've talked about this a little bit already. Jews' view of the afterlife. So she's going to talk about that. So let's watch this clip.
And then I think it's also worth pointing out that Jewish people don't believe in eternal damnation or hell, which is something I had only learned about maybe 1.5 years ago or something.
So, in this clip, I think we do need to say right here at the outset is that it's hard to group all Jewish people together in what they believe and what they don't believe.
That's right.
Even ancient Jews, right? Even in the scriptures, we have Pharisees and Sadducees. There's several different sects that view the law different, that accept certain books of the Old Testament and don't accept other books of the Old Testament. So it's hard to kind of just put this blanket, view on all Jews, right? But maybe you can speak to kind of the dominant view or even the dominant views of the afterlife in a little bit of a more robust way than we did earlier where we talked about resurrection and Sheol and we went through that clip. So enlighten us, Chris.
Yeah, well, sure. So, I do want to say, though, a word or two about contemporary Jews first, because Brenda, I think, has bought a very popular but false myth, namely that Jewish people don't believe in hell. It is true that many Jews don't believe in hell, but it's also true that many Jews are entirely secular and are atheists and are not in any way religiously practicing Jews. And then amongst ostensibly religious Jews, at least, you've got different sects or denominations ranging from very liberal ones to more conservative ones. And as it turns out, many conservative religious Jews do, in fact, believe in hell. So just as one example, I looked this up today before this interview. A rabbi named Baruch Halevi, writing for JewishBoston.com, writes the following. Jews may not believe in the afterlife, heaven and hell, but Judaism unequivocally does. The truly evil are either eternally damned to Gehenna or disposed of into the cosmic evil trash heap. So here you've got one example, and I'm sure you could find countless others of contemporary conservative religious Jews who do, in fact, believe in some form of hell, whether that's eternal torment or annihilation or what have you. But of course, as you rightly observed, the more important question is not what Jews 2,000 years after the time of Christ believe, but rather what did Jews in the time of Christ believe. Sure. And what you'll find is that they were almost as diverse as the Jews today. What you don't have, I think, are very liberal Jews in the first century and before and after that. And you also don't have many atheistic Jews. They were very committed to Yahweh. It was part of their national identity. But you did have differences of opinion in terms of what God would do to people after death and then after resurrection. You had the Sadducees, who didn't believe in any sort of afterlife at all, not because they were liberal, but because they were conservative. They only believed in the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible.
Right.
But then you also have the Essenes, for example, who were an extremely conservative sectarian group of Jews, and their writings are what we find a lot of in the Dead Sea Scrolls. One such writing is called the Community Rule, and there it talks about how God is going to finally destroy the wicked. And then you have intertestamental, that is between the Old and New Testament Jewish texts like Judith, which at least on the surface seems to take Isaiah's language in Isaiah 66:24 of God's enemies being reduced to corpses being eaten up by fire and maggots. Judith twists that into worms and fire forever inflicting pain on the wicked. So what you have, and that's by the way not the obvious reading of Judith. It is just the most popular. There are scholars like David Instone Brewer who challenges that reading. Either way, however, the point is that in the time of Christ, Jews, as far as what they believed about the afterlife, setting the Sadducees aside, believed in resurrection, and the wicked, the Gentiles, many others would either, upon being resurrected, be slain and never live again, or they would remain alive in pain forever in Gehenna. And that those were the dominant Jewish views, even if they weren't entirely monolithic in that day and age. But like I said, just to reiterate, even today, you see that kind of diversity within Jewish people as well. This is just simply a myth that has no basis in reality.
Yeah, and I think she's really trying to use that evidence and that, piece of data that Jews didn't necessarily believe in the afterlife to go to her case, to build her case that there either is no afterlife at all, which I don't think she's saying, or that the afterlife means that everybody will basically be with God. And again, this comes on the back of her understanding of Sheol, as we talked about earlier. So I think those two things kind of go together in that.
That's right. And I'm glad you mentioned what you did, because it reminds me that there is one view that you will not find, at least I have yet to find, in any Jewish writings from the time of Jesus or thereabouts, and that's universalism.
Right.
You do find annihilationism, my view. You do find, it seems, eternal torment. You don't find universalism. And today, some Jews do believe in universalism of some sort. But what Jews 2,000 years removed from Jesus believe isn't going to tell you what Jesus and his contemporaries believe.
That's exactly right. Well, I hope you enjoyed that clip from the conversation that I had with Chris Date. If you're interested in checking out the whole conversation I had with Chris, you can go ahead and click here. As always, if you are dealing with deconstruction, I would invite you to subscribe. Thanks. We'll see you next time on Dealing with Deconstruction.